Hello, I'm Tylah Tully, and today I'm joined by Race Oncology CEO Dr Daniel Tillett. Daniel, you've made a pretty major announcement this week, submitting a new composition of matter patent application for your bisantrene compound. Can you explain this breakthrough in detail for us?
Sure, Tully. It's actually a discovery that's been in the works for quite some time. So we've known about this for a while and we've been working diligently away. So what we've actually discovered is that bisantrene is actually not bisantrene. It's actually something else called Ee-bisantrene, or with our internal code name for it's called asxnews. And what we've discovered is that the old bisantrene is actually made up of three different what are known as isomers, so variations of that drug, and they all have different properties. So they all have different biological properties and they have different anti-cancer activities. And we've identified what the correct one is that has all the anti-cancer activity, and we've discovered how to make it and keep it in that form. So the main thing about all of this is it turns the drug from an old drug, which was originally developed in the 1970s, into a new drug as though we had invented it today. And that gives you the best possible form of IP protection, intellectual property or patent, and that's called composition of matter, and that's around the actual chemical structure of the drug. It's very difficult to work around that. It gives you a lot of protection. We now have 20 years of that sort of protection, so it's as good as you can possibly ask for.
You might have just touched on it there, but how important is it to have new composition of matter IP for your drug?
It's critically important in the biotech space. So the only thing you have to sell is property, intellectual property. So that's what you're doing, is creating intellectual property through research and clinical trials and the rest. And that's what gets bought by large pharma. They want to buy composition of matter patents, and they want a long life on that patent. So the longer the life of the patent, the longer they have exclusivity over the drug, and the more they can charge that premium. Otherwise, it goes into what's known as a generic drug, and the price then drops to a fraction of what it was before. So the longer they can keep it in patent, the better. So the longest you can get is 20 years. There is a possibility of actually adding another 5 years on through what's called patent extension, but a little bit complicated. When you have that sort of length of time, you've got something that's pretty amazing, particularly if you're in the clinic at the same time. So normally it's 10 years to get to the clinic from the discovery, original patent. And we're sort of lucky to be able to have 20 years ahead of us.
How does today's announcement impact your current phase 1 clinical trial in solid tumours?
Well, it doesn't have actually any direct impact. So we've known about this for a long time. The formulation we make, which is called RC220, utilizes the active form, the Ee-bisantrene form. And so everything continues along as per normal. It's just now that it becomes public. So we've sort of been using it in secret, if you want to call it that way, but without disclosing. And the trial just continues on as per normal. So all the data that we're collecting is on the active form of the drug.
And today's announcement is pretty scientifically complex. Can you give us the key takeaways and what this means for investors?
Yeah, the key takeaway is just this composition of matter and associated patents as well. So we have patents around the manufacture and how to keep it in the form. And all of those go together to create what's known as a patent thicket. They all add value, and any acquirer license all that technology. The other thing that may be not so quite obvious is that the original formulation now becomes protectable, and that is at stage 3. We've done 2 phase 2 trials before in the past, and it's the next sort of trial to be done would be a phase 3 trial. So we've moved from effectively what we were in previously just in phase 1 with our new formulation, RC220. We have the potential, subject to funding and partnerships and all the rest of it, to move straight into phase 3, which is, really quite an amazing thing that can come about through, doing what is fundamental research into the molecule and understanding it better.
Definitely sounds like very good news for Race. Daniel, thanks for your time today.
Thank you, Tully.
For more ASX news and analysis, subscribe below.